Hey folks, Leo here once again. Welcome back to another review. Another Batman review. I enjoyed my review of The Dark Knight yesterday, which is up on my channel now. Concluding and reviewing the final installment of the Christopher Nolan trilogy, and that is the film that came out in 2012, and that is The Dark Knight Rises. And to be honest, I hate this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say a lie. I freaking hate this movie. Okay, I didn't like it one bit. You know, I'm not gonna throw it away because now I'm thinking about giving this trilogy away. But anyway, I'm gonna throw this damn disc and break it and smash it. But I hated this movie. It was so boring. Such a lame Batman film. Honestly, in my opinion, the worst Batman film. Yes, in my opinion, the worst Batman film. Yes, Batman and Robin to me is not the worst. This is. I'd rather watch Batman and Robin over this shit. Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, I agree, remember Ralph for Life. The Dark Knight pisses. You know, or The Dark Knight shits. You know, that's what I call it, you know. Because this film sucks. I told you to be a Batman rant, and this is the Batman rant now. And if you like this movie, that's fine. If you love this trilogy, that's fine. Batman Begins and The Dark Knight, they're okay movies in my opinion. They're just decent films. Heath Ledger, to me, is great. He's the best thing about this entire trilogy. Other than that, these films to me, these three movies, I think are overrated and boring. They're overrated and boring. I don't get why people love them. You know, honestly, the Batman with Robert Pattinson, that is much better. That is truly a Batman film more than these will ever be. That's what Christopher Nolan should have done with these Batman films, in my opinion. But anyway, let's get into this rant. You know, talk about how the movie got made. In 2005, Daggett confirmed that he wrote treatment for two films involving the Joker. The first involved Batman, Harvey Dent, and Commissioner Gordon hunting the Joker, while the second having the Joker scarring Dent and turning him to Two-Face during his trial, which didn't happen. The third treatment ended up the same way as the final version of Dark Knight Rises. Yeah, from what I heard, they were supposed to bring Two-Face back, but they killed him off in The Dark Knight, so that didn't happen. Then I heard that they were going to have the Riddler, which would have been more interesting. Other aspects of the third treatment, which incorporated into The Dark Knight. However, Heath Ledger's family stated that he was planning on starring his role as the Joker before his death. After his death, Christopher Nolan decided not to recast the role out of respect for his performance, and Hensler was hesitant to make a third film, which I do respect Nolan out of that, though. You know, at least one good thing he came out of this movie, he didn't recast Heath Ledger as Joker. Good, because Heath was great. You didn't need to recast. You know. Warner Brothers' president of production, Jeff Robner, had hoped a third film would be released in 2011-2012. Nolan wanted the story for the third installment to keep him emotionally invested on a more supervised level. I've had to ask the question, the reason, how many good third movies in the franchise can people name? Batman Forever, one of them I can name. Superman 3, something I can name, yeah, because I like those movies. Nolan said that never been thought a third film was possible in the fourth or the first book. They aren't making the Dark Knight trilogy. Nolan only agreed to a third film on the basis of finding a worthwhile story, fearing that he would become bored halfway through production if he discovered the film to be unnecessary. By December 2008, Nolan completed a rough story outline before he committed himself to Inception. Later in December, Alan F. Horn confirmed that while discussions by Nolan about a third film were ongoing, no casting has been done, and Horn denied all such rumors. Before Nolan confirmed his involvement, Gary Oldman has said he was confident Nolan will return. Following the success of The Joker and Dark Knight, studios wished for the Riddler to be included as a primary villain, as he considers him a character and encouraged the casting of Leonardo DiCaprio. That would be interesting. However, Nolan wanted the antagonist to be different from the previous incarnations and committed to using Bane instead. Why? Yes, Bane and Catwoman, by the way, these are the two villains of the movie. Why fucking use Bane? You know, why? Again, he is an equal to Batman. He brought Batman back in the comics, and he's tough and he's strong. But again, in a realistic version in this movie, he doesn't work. And I'm like, why use Bane in the first place? Bane is not a developed character. Do you not understand that, Nolan? The Riddler is a more interesting character. He's more developed. Bane is not a developed character, okay? He sucked in Batman and Robin. Yes, he did suck, and he sucks in this film too. We didn't need him you didn't need Bane in this movie. Why? Oh, because I wanted Batman to face his presence. I'm like, then if you want to have Bane in here, you could have had him as a hitman or, you know, an assassin. That would be more interesting. Why can't we have Bane in a live action movie, Batman movie? Next time we have him, can we please just have him as an assassin? Maybe a villain to hire Bane to take Batman out. I think that'd be more interesting. Seeing the need for a character with a physical presence with the film. He was intentionally unfamiliar with the character's backstory. To find out the appeal of the archetype, labeling it as the extreme villainy. I think Bane's backstory, though, from what I heard, he was born in a prison. When comparing the choice of Bane with the Joker, Nolan highlighted the Joker as an example of double antiquated and devilish sense of humor. And excluding him to Bane, while he likened to a classic movie monster with a terrific brain, Nolan had said that drafted script was inspired by Charles Dickens' novel of A Tale of Two Cities, which centers around the French Revolution. The homage to Dickens was briefly illustrated by having Bane comfortably fingering it. I can't say it right, I'm sorry. On February 19, 2010, it was announced that Nolan had cracked the story and was committed to returning to the project. Shortly after it was announced, David S. Goyer and Jonathan Nolan were working on a screenplay. Goyer would leave the project during pre-production to begin work on Man of Steel. Jonathan continued writing the script based on the story about his brother, Kristen Goyer. Nolan said that his brother's original draft was about 400 pages. The film storyline has been compared with the Batman comic book series Nightfall, which showcases Bane and the Dark Returns in '86, and Batman returns to Gotham City after a 10-year absence, as a story arc, No Man's Land, which depicts a Gotham cut off from the rest of the world and overrun by gangs. The nickname of the Dark Knight was first appealed to Batman and Batman, and it's written by both. Nolan confirmed that Joker would return to the third film, and dismissed rumors that he considered using unused footage that he Ledger from Dark Knight. Shortly before his death, Ledger had plans to respire the role in the third film after joining his time in the film of The Dark Knight. And also supported Two-Face actor Aaron Eckhart, the Dark Knight Rises we now have known, but many of the cast collaborators filming. The only location the film, of course, is a very realistic movie. There is no sound stage or anything. I think it's probably filmed in Chicago, certain places. Maybe. But in theater, I remember it was IMAX. So some of the film was shot in Pittsburgh. You have a football stadium film, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Roland Hall in Northampton was used as Wayne Manor's Bruce Wayne's residence. Shortly before Christmas 2007, Christopher Nolan invited several prominent directors, including Edgar Wright, Michael Bay, Bryan Singer, Jon Favreau, Eli Roth, Duncan Jones, Stephen DeLay to Universal Studios Theater for a private screening of the first 6 minutes of Dark Knight Rises, which had been shot. Nolan thought the using of the film's stock in cinema was being phased out due to the deduction. Bane uses a mask to inhale a gas, which we don't have Venom, so because Venom and steroids create Bane, so you don't have that in this movie. It's just, yeah, the look of Bane in this movie is just the mask. It keeps his pain just below the 3-star so he can function. His Iron Man costume, Henry needed it to be looked like, and there were all sorts of bits and pieces he cobbled together. As past some very remote places, we have parts of his fist, for example. Henry also designed Bane's mask to look animalistic. Costume effects, supervisor Gotham Treasurer created a three-dimensional model of actor Tom Hardy's face and skull designed the mask, allowing the mask to clearly conform to the cameras of Hardy's face. Henry personally designed Bane's coat, which she admitted took 2 years to complete. The Batsuit consisted of 110 separate pieces, each of which would be replaced dozens of times over the course of production. In creating Selina's cat suits, 2 layers of materials were used in the outlaying coated spandex. The cat suit also consists of elbow-length gloves, a utility belt, and thigh-high boots with spike heels. Production design. The film introduces new vehicles like compared to the Batplane, Batcopter, or Batplane, you can call it. Enemy score was done by Hans Zimmer. Design the Batcave. They did design the Batcave, and it was a set they built for the Batcave, and it does look nice, I will admit. You know, for the marketing of the movie, you had commercials, you did have some toy commercials of Batman, and I do remember the trailers and the posters, Bane like on Batman's mask to the side, or him standing, or, it's like shot in the rain, and it's basically black, But I think there was also a video game for this movie. Yeah, Dark Knight Rises had a mobile video game for the iOS and Android developed. The game describes the game art describes the game as follows. You play as Batman or Catwoman through 8 thrilling levels from Gotham streets to City Hall in the Stock Exchange. Unlock Batman's gadgets, vehicles like the Batarang and the Batbot to fight against Bane and his mercenaries, and enjoy deep immersions of the Batman and thanks to rich gameplay. You have 8 levels to explore across several locations like Gotham, streets and City Hall. Rich and challenging gameplay make good use of the open world structure, a wide range of gadgets to use, from Batarangs to the Batpod and more. 2 playable characters, Batman and Catwoman. So, you know. Yeah. A little bit of pictures of the game. I think driving the Batpod. Yep. And this game does not like just age well. So yeah. And a picture of Batman himself. Yeah. So yeah. But I still say Batman Begins is a better game. Even though I never played it, but I'd rather just play Batman Begins again. That's a better game. In my opinion. And NASCAR also did something for it. I guess having the Dark Knight Rises logo to help market the movie. I do want to mention that there was, if you folks don't remember, 2012 was also the year that I graduated high school, but there was also the Colorado shooting. I just want to get my thoughts on that. A guy named James Holmes, who doesn't wear a mask, he opened fire theater. I think he killed 12 people. Yeah, that's just, I think the guy's name was James Holmes or something like that. Well, the guy apparently was a fan of The Dark Knight, was obsessed with the character of the Joker, and in his crazy mind, he just decided to walk in there just like Bane and, you know, he started just walking in the movie theater and shooting at people. I remember this because I remember after that, you know, my theater, when I used to live in Bethlehem, Georgia, when I walked in, because we have an AMC theater, they would, you know, check everybody, just check on you, like have security and stuff, like check on you, make sure nobody's having weapons, just because of what happened. You know, and the Colorado shooting, though, and I also heard that Christian Bale, you know, also went to go visit the victims who were, you know, who were injured, some of the people that were injured. You know, it's very sad that this happened. But I don't blame Nolan, I don't blame Bell, I don't blame the movie. I blame, you know, James Holmes. It was his fault. He was crazy. He couldn't separate fantasy from reality, so he was just, I guess, crazy, you can say. But honestly, it's just sad that it happens. That was very sad that it happened back then, and, you know, yeah. I just wanted to briefly mention that. Alright, the film's cast, you have Christian Bale as Bruce Wayne Batman, Michael Caine as Alfred Pennyworth, Gary Oldman as James Gordon, Anne Hathaway as Selina Kyle Catwoman, Tom Hardy as Bane. You have Maria Collector as Miranda Tate, Talia Rule. She was also in Inception. Joseph Gordon-Levitt as John Blake, Officer John Blake. Gordon-Levitt, I remember him that he was in Inception. He was in 10 Things I Hate About You, which he did that movie with Heath Ledger, and he also was in the movie called Angels in the Outfield. Morgan Freeman as Lucius Fox. Ben Melez portrays John Daggett. Cillian Murphy comes back, you know, as a cameo basically, and Liam Neeson, you know, comes back as Henry Degarde, Ra's al Ghul. Well, just to appear in a cameo, and Bruce having an hallucination. Yeah. You have Matthew Modine in here, and you forget the actor who plays the congressman. Yeah. So, wait a minute, let me do something real quick, I'm sorry. Okay. Just want to talk about the plot synopsis for The Dark Knight Rises. Pretty much what this movie is about is that it has been 8 years since Batman, in collision with Commissioner Gordon, vanished into the night. Assuming responsibility for the death of Harvey Dent, which takes place events after The Dark Knight, Batman sacrificed everything for what he and Gordon hoped would be the greater good. However, the arrival of a cunning cat burglar and a mercenary terrorist named Bane forced Batman out of exile and into a battle he may not be able to win. So Batman has to come out of retirement, and Bane is pretty much, used to be a member of the League of Shadows, so Batman has to take him on a fight along with the help of Catwoman or Selena Kyle, who has her own agenda. And she has to help him, and they have to defeat them before, and some spoilers in this review, before Bane and his mercenaries destroy Gotham once and for all. So it's kind of like an in-battle fight. So, before I get into the movie, and like I said, it will be a rant. Damn, look at my... Sorry. Yeah. Okay. But let's get into the movie itself, then I'll give my final opinion on this movie. Oh, I forgot to mention, I'm sorry. It is directed by Christopher Nolan, screenplay by Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan, stories by Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer. It is produced by Emma Thompson, Christopher Nolan, Charles Robin. Cinematography is by Wally Crusoe. Edited by Lee Smith. Music by Hans Zimmer. Distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures. Released July 20, 2012 in the United States and the UK. It's 165 minutes long. The budget was $250 or $3 million. And the box office made $1.81 million worldwide. So it was a box office hit. Alright, so the movie pretty much opens up in this country where the CIA is extracting Leonard Powell, or Dr. Preble, or whatever, this doctor who's a scientist, who of course Bane is after. Some prisoners joining the fight, but they're Bane and his men. And Bane pretty much, has this shitty voice throughout the movie. He does sound like this late Sean Connery, but the men talk about the CIA, they talk about Bane, they get on this plane, test him about what Bane is, and Bane's got this mask on, he's like, hook the man, or whatever, he's like this. He's like, and he says, Bane? He's like, if I take that mask off for her, I was like, of course, or something. Of course it would help, the mask would help. I can't really understand what he's saying. He's like, was it your plan getting caught or whatever, Bane? He's like, of course, And, Bane's men take over the plane, they it kind of does remind me of Cliffhanger with Sylvester Stallone, which is a better movie, by the way, and better shot, and at least more bloodier, just better done, in my opinion. But this is nice shot still, but still, who cares? I don't really care, nonetheless. They save the doctor. Bane tells one man, and he's like, no, brother, you stay. He's like, because Bart make a fire. He's like, yes, the fire rises. Calm down, doctor, no time for fear. And Bane, hooks him and the doctor up on a cable, and they ever get out of that plane safely while the plane crashes, killing the CIA agents. They pretty much stage the doctor's death, but Bane is planning to use him later for his plans for Gotham. So that's why he needs him alive. Gotham City is in a state of peace. Batman has disappeared. So they talk about Harvey Dent. Oh, what a great hero he is. And, all that he did for Gotham City, that Batman murdered him. Batman murdered these people. And, people wanted the mayor talks about it. Gordon has a paper or whatever. He's going to admit the truth. and he's looking at the paper. The truth about Harvey Dent, and then he's having like these flashbacks of Harvey, because he's defending a man who killed who was threatening his family, but was also going to kill his son, who had a gun to his son's head. And basically he's kind of defending the monster that he became, that was Two-Face, that was trying to kill his son. So honestly, he should have just told the truth. Or because, you can say, oh well, but he didn't want to hurt the people who got them. If people knew the truth from Gordon, they'd believe him. But you know what? All these criminals would not just jump out. They would not, let's release all the criminals because the truth is this. I'm like, because Gotham needed a hero, and I'm like, yeah. Harvey was Gotham's right now, but he died when the Joker, when those bombs blew up in his face, he became Two-Face. Harvey Two-Face. So again, he ends up no hero, sadly. He ends up, yeah. But, you have Bruce Wayne, who's retired, limping around, walking on a cane. Then you have Selena Kyle, played by Anne Hathaway, and I don't like Anne Hathaway at all. I'm sorry. I've never been a fan of her. I never liked the Princess Diary movies. I don't like Ella Enchanted. I've never been a fan of this actress. She's not attractive to me. She did the Witches movie last year, and I'm like, honestly, I've just never found her attractive. I don't think she's a good actress. I'm sorry. I didn't care for, This Means War or Brides Awards or whatever that she did with, I forget, Kate Hudson was the actress's name? Which Kate Hudson is better looking, But Anne Hathaway, her big nose, I've never been a fan of. She steals Bruce Wayne's mother's pearls. He comes to confront her because he, shoots an arrow and scares her. And she's like, "Oh, Mr. Wayne, I'm sorry, you scared me." His mother's pearls, and Bruce is able to, tell her about the safe that he knows his mother's pearls. Then she just, oh really? And then she just trips him. So, just trips him, he falls like a moron, and she's like, "Goodbye, Mr. Wayne," just out of there. And then kidnaps the congressman. This actor, I think, was also in Ghost Rider, playing Johnny Blaze's dad in that movie. So she kidnaps this congressman. Bruce, she doesn't get Bruce's fingerprints, but he's able to get hers. Able to find out that she's Selena Kyle, and then he's whining about his life. "Oh, Alfred, I couldn't be Batman anymore because my love of my life died." And, there was no reason for him to retire. He's way too young. Oh, because he retired because of what happened with Harvey Dent, because the Joker won, or because of his woman, because of Rachel dying. I'm like, all you do is whine and sit there, and I'm like, and, Alfred tells him, "Well, I didn't want you to come back to Gotham. I was hoping you would never come back because of the pain that it brought you after your parents' death." And then Alfred pretty much tells Bruce about this cafe he went to in this country, and he imagines that he can see Bruce there, being happy, probably with a wife and kids. And so pretty much Alfred tells you the ending of the movie. So what's the point of watching the movie? What you're telling me the ending of it. What's the fucking point, But anyway, Selena takes this congressman to these guys that she's meeting. She's trying to get a clean slate. She's trying to get a paper that will give her a clean record. And if she gets that, she'll be able to go freely. That's her goal here in this movie. And the guys say they decided to turn on her. And she tricks them by using the congressman's phone. She's like, "Nobody will miss you, but somebody will miss him. See, my friend, he's a congressman. And you just use his phone." So she fights with these guys in a lame, quick editing shot fights. Poorly done by Lee Smith. Lee Smith, you suck at editing fight scenes. You suck. You can't do it. But she, the cops come in, she's like, pretends that I'm crying and stuff, and I'm sorry, I'm not buying her BS. She does it so terribly, and I'm like, and just walks out there, runs out of there. And then Harvey, and then some of these arranged men, they run into the sewer, And I forgot to mention about George Logan, who plays Officer John Blake. Basically, his character is supposed to be like Robin, which he is not Robin, because Robin, I believe, was not a cop in the comics. and Robin's name is Dick Grayson, Tim Drake, Jason Todd, or Damian Wayne. It's not John Blake. No. But I mentioned Jordan goes to 11, goes to these orphanage kids, this orphanage, to talk to this kid about Batman or whatever. I don't really remember. But goes to Wayne Enterprise, Wayne Manor a little later on. But before that, Gordon decides to follow these people, him and the two men, go in the sewer, these two cups get blown up. Gordon gets captured, gets knocked out by the bad guys, and these two bring Gordon to, Gordon's like passed out, but he's faking, because you see him like, they grab him, so he's faking, and then they bring him to Bane. Bane's like, why are you here? And there's an incident man, he's like, I wasn't talking to him, I was talking to you, why'd you bring him down here so the cops can get us? And this guy keeps on his mouth, so Bane chokes him out, and Bane gets the note, pretty much grabs the note about the truth about Harvey Dent and keeps it for later. Gordon, meanwhile, gets the chance, slips out of the sewer, gets into the water, and it gets him out of there. Oh yeah, Joseph Gordon-Levitt was talking to the orphanage about one of the orphanage kids who died, I guess was in the sewer and maybe got killed, or you can assume it. But Gordon escapes anyway, and he puts a tracker on the guy, and Bane's like, do your job, follow him. So Bane just shoots the guy. They find Gordon. Gordon gets sent to the hospital, so he's bedridden for most of the movie. And pretty much, he decides to go to John Blake, Officer Blake decides to go to Bruce Wayne's estate. Someone knows he's Batman, which, because he says, oh, I knew you were Batman, which makes no sense, makes zero sense. How do you know he's Batman? Oh, because, he could tell who Bruce Wayne was just by the look on his face. Still, it makes no sense. It's kind of like they're forcing Robin to be in here, but he's not Robin, but you're forcing a character in here that will partake for him as Batman. I guess that's kind of the plan here, if you know any of the movie. So again, pretty pointless, in my opinion. But Bruce goes to the hospital, gets checked on his leg, and I'm like, oh, because he fell like, 8 feet when he killed Harvey, when he tackled Harvey. I'm like, he falls from like maybe 20 or 10 feet building, 10 feet building, and Batman begins, but his leg ends up being okay, he ends up being fine, but fall from not much of a high building, he ends up being okay. Makes no sense. Yeah. So he does this cool thing to all met, but he is able to create, like, he's up in the hospital, go to Gordon's room, wear that mask. He's like, when was Batman? He's like, Batman needs to come back, and he's like, okay. Because he's wearing this ski mask before he became Batman. Eventually, that's how he started out to become Batman. And then he eventually goes back to Wayne Manor, and I think he's running with something called, they have a dance scene, and honestly, they have no chemistry. Batman Returns, Michelle Pfeiffer's a lot better. Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton, they had chemistry. And that dance scene is a lot more memorable, face to face. This scene isn't memorable. They have a talk, whatever, blah, 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 I don't care. Then, Anne Hathaway says this stupid dialogue, it's like this, and you leave so little for the rest of us, but you'll never get it, or something. It was stupid, and she kisses Bruce Wayne just to steal his car keys. So, again, he's a freaking idiot, because, I'm like, she's a thief and will steal from you. Again, tricks you again. She trips you up and she steals your car keys. But Alfred comes and gives him a ride, and when Bruce decides to, become Batman once again, I do like when he goes and we see we see him in the Batpile, but Bane breaks into him and his mercenaries break into a bank, the stock exchange, and he has his helmet on, beats these guards up, kills them, and whatever his plan is, they escape with the hostages, by using them kind of like the hostages like as shields on these bikes. Batman shows up in his Batpile, maybe like 45 minutes into the movie, Batman finally shows up. And I kind of admit I do like those, the electrical pellet gun or whatever electric gun he has. When he, shoots it, that was cool. And the cop shoots at Batman, and Batman's like, and he's like, cop's like, sorry. That was funny. Batman takes off in the Batpod. Some cool shots of him going. Cops try to arrest Batman, of course. Matthew Modine, who was in Pacific Heights and Full Metal Jacket's in here, playing as a cop. I guess as a sergeant, whatever, lieutenant, whatever he is, goes into, try to arrest Batman. Batman is able to make this cool jump and jumps in his Batplane that Lucius gives him. And I forgot to mention there's a woman named Miranda Tate who wants to do business with Wayne, but Bruce just kind of ignores her. But anyway, I'm sorry, I go over my reviews. But he escapes on the Batplane, which looks horrible. Or you can say it's a Batwing. It's a Batplane. Or the Bat Tank flying machine, but I'll call it a Batplane. Batman takes off in that, gets away. And you find out that, Bruce, what they did is invest a fusion machine that is supposed to protect Gotham City, but it can also destroy it if it's in the wrong hands. It can become a nuclear weapon. But Alfred, eventually tells Bruce, because Alfred's like, oh, me and Rachel wanted to be together. He's like, what if I told you that she chose you over Dent? And he's like, how dare you do that, Alfred? Alfred wanted to stop him from Bane. But, this is where I kind of am on Bruce's side, though, where he didn't really have a right to do that. Again, I didn't like that Alfred burned down the letter. I always wanted to save him pain. But, again, it wasn't his right. That was Bruce's right to read. It was right for Bruce to know. So, Bruce pretty much had every right to fire him. People want to complain in Batman 89 about Alfred letting Vicky into the Batcave, but they don't complain about this. But I complain about it because it wasn't his right to do it. And Alfred just, pisses off for the rest of the movie until the ending. So you don't see him for a whole therein. Bruce has to open his own door. He's just like, where's Alfred? Alfred's not there. But he tells Bruce that he's broke. Bruce can't even go to a meeting. So he tells Miranda he gives her control of the fusion power, gives Wayne Enterprises in her hands. Bruce tries to go to his house, and it's raining. Miranda shows up. They go on inside the house. They end up doing this. But eventually, he also talks to Selina because he's going broke. Talks to her about his mutual friend Batman, of course, will help her get a clean slate if she can help him find Bane. And even later on, he goes him into a plan when he plans to fight Bane. Even Alfred's like, look at him, sir, look at what he fights, And he's like, and Bruce is being so like, oh, I'll fight him before Ra's al Ghul was a legal shadow, and I beat him. I'm like, well, this is different. So, yeah, it's different. You're preparing to fight an enemy that, could be better than you in a fight, and you're jumping in there like an idiot, Batman would at least be smart and have a plan, He just wouldn't jump into a situation. Oh yeah, they use a stolen set of fingerprints, which Selina got, so they can control that fusion power weapon, by the way. You have John Daggett, who, I think the character is based on Roland Daggett, who was in Batman the Animated Series, but Daggett, of course, is a business rival. He wants to stay with Wayne Enterprises. Even tells Bruce that he doesn't need to be with me. He needs to piss off, basically. But John Daggett, he needs to use Bane for that. And he's like, where's Bane? Where's Bane? And Bane's like, that would he would be. Bane's like, I'm in charge. And Bane's like, do you feel in charge? And Bane just breaks his neck, snaps his neck, kills the guy, kills Daggett. But after sleeping with Miranda, Bruce, puts on the bat suit. I forgot to mention him and Selina, they don't call Catwoman, but in her cat suit, she wants to get the clean slate. She tries to scare John Daggett earlier, and crappy fight scene, the villains are showing up, she's like, stop it. The person shows like, Batman's like, they know, they just don't care, And he's like, no guns. And he's like, my mother warned me about getting across the street, and he's like, Batman's like, this isn't a car. You hear from the Batplane, and she like does this disappear on Batman, which she does, and Batman's like, oh, so that's what that feels like. Which I thought was funny element. But anyway, where I was, that he goes to confront Catwoman and, Selina, and so Selina, they take out some of Bane's mercenaries, and finds the sewers is locked, and Catwoman, of course, portrays like, I'm sorry. Selina's like, I'm sorry, but I had to do this, and Batman's like, you made a serious mistake. And he's like, no, the serious show. Then you have this awful fight scene. Again, Nolan, you can't shoot any good fight scenes. This fight scene sucks. I agree with what OCP Communications in his review. It's like a drunken bar fight because Batman, and Bane was like, the victory has defeated you. Pushes Batman over. Bane jumps down on the chain, is able to go down on the chains, beat Batman up a little more. Batman just, tries to, can't use his utility belt for anything, which Batman's utility belt has got everything in there like a freaking refrigerator, and he can't use one thing to find to feed himself. Throws some smoke pellets, which just go over Bane's face. Tries to use the shadows, turn the lights off, and Bane's like, oh, you use the darkness as no light. I was born in it! And the shadows betray you. He's got Batman choked like this. And Batman was like, you are forgetting the psychopaths! Beats him up a little more. And he's like, I'm here to do what I'm supposed to do to me! And he beats Batman up more. Batman, it's just painful watching Batman getting his ass kicked. People say he's human. No, he's not. He's a fucking wimp. He's a wimp. Batman, who was a badass character, world-class detective, who is a badass, gets his ass handed to him. Yeah, Batman '89, he does get his ass handed to him a bit there, but you know what? He grabs the guy by the neck, like this, with his legs, and throws his ass down the church, This Batman can't even do that. This Batman gets beaten up, and Bane gets back, he gets back to fight Bane, and Bane's like, oh, it's my when you're coming back. And then, Bane picks him up, breaks his back, and then takes him back his mask and is like, we're going to use your very own armory, to destroy Gotham. And then he puts... He also reveals that the Wayne Enterprises applied the science vision, stage a heist on it. He steals Batman an arsenal, and then he puts him in this ancient prison called the Pit. That is supposed to be like the worst prison in the world that nobody can escape from. The only way to escape from it is you got to climb up this hole to get out of it. And Bane is like telling him he's going to do to Gotham that you want to. Like, when Gotham is in ashes, then you have my permission to die. And again, he's got a broken back. His back is broken. Can't get up. He sees men trying to get out of the guy, try to get out of the pit, and then fall because they get covers up the rope around their waist. And no one's ever made it. Then they tell Bruce that a child made it, which you think is Bane, because again, Bane was born in prison. You find out a little more, but this chiropractor is there, and this doctor, but ties up Bruce on a rope, and you know how he fixes his back? Because his back is broken. The doctor, he puts him on a rope, and then whack, punches him in the back, and then he's better. So that makes him better. So I guess if your back is broken, and you can't move at all, it's broken. I mean, you're just like kind of paralyzed. I guess broken bones are easy to fix, just realistic. So if somebody has a broken back, broken bones can be easy to fix. All you gotta do is whack, punch it, and they'll be fine. Then they're gonna be doing push-ups and sit-ups. They'll be okay. They'll do push-ups, absurd us, But Bane starts his attack on Gotham, starting with the football game, this boy singing the national anthem, and Bane's like, it's got a lovely voice, and then Dr. Powerful starts the fusion power reactor because he's able to infiltrate Wayne Enterprises. He needs Lucius and Miranda's fingerprints on it to start it, and tells them what's going to happen in Gotham. And the Triple Man, won't get it. One of you was the Triple Man, the identity, we filled. The element comes about, but they can't get in. Bane's mercenaries tell him, well, if anybody sits on this island will blow up and kill 12 million people. It's 12 million people in Gotham, so it becomes like no man's land. And everybody will be killed, and everybody will die. But Selina, by the way, I forgot to mention, she gets caught by John Blake, who is now a detective. Oh, by the way, they blow up half the city because half the cops are down there, because Gordon, again, who's bedridden in a hospital, says, send every available cop down in the city. So there's like 3,000, I think, cops they send down there to the tunnels, and they all get captured. I'm like, first of all, Gordon, I know he's commissioner, but he has no right to give orders right now because he's in the hospital. Okay, maybe that metaphor, what do you call it? When the doctor's heavy on something, I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but whenever he's on, he's not really clearly in the right mind to make, decisions. Having an available cop down, what? Stupid, But John Blake is a detective now because he's doing a good job finding out. And he's also able to find out that these construction workers working for Bane, fights them, shoots one guy, other guy he's able to, shoot him back, shoots the truck and the bullet hits the guy, kills him. So apparently John Blake is an unstoppable force to be reckoned with because he can just shoot a gun and kill you just with one shot. But anyway, I'm just rambling. Gotham City becomes an isolated city-state. Bane reveals the truth, like this. Here, I have the truth of how we did right here, and tells them the story about Harvey being Two-Faced, about what he did. So, pretty much it was based on line. Everybody's mad. I forgot to mention Gordon does get out of the hospital. I get Bane's mercy tries to kill him. He just put the gun at this is what this movie is. It's kind of like an everywhere movie. Subplots of this going on and that going on. This movie for me was just everywhere. And it's way too long. But anyway, why people will believe Bane? And I'm like, why can't the military somehow sneak onto the island? Navy SEALs, anybody? Maybe if Bane was going to sit there and, read the note, they could have snuck up. Maybe have the military have a sniper, point a gun, and shoot it at Bane, and maybe kill him, and maybe the movie would have been over. But no, they can't do that, Because, when there's a situation and people's lives are in danger, the military can't find a way to get in, to sneak in, which they are trained for, sneak in and take out the enemy, right? But, yeah. I forget where I was. But, yeah, on that, just Gordon was like, it's wrong what you did, Commissioner. It's wrong what you did. And Gordon tries to justify it by saying, how could you do what you did? We're trying to do it for the greater good or whatever. He has a plea different to me, Commissioner. And it is wrong what he did. He should have told the truth, And it was wrong for him. And I hate that ending of The Dark Knight. It was stupid for him and Batman to do that. The first was Kathleen and the hero because Batman's been a symbol. Batman can be anybody. No, Batman is a creature of the night. Batman is the Cape Crusader. He's the Dark Knight. He is the creature of the night. He is vengeance. He is a beacon of hope. That's what Batman is, basically, to me. A beacon of hope. Not, Batman can be. No, Batman is not a symbol. He's a beacon of hope. That's what Batman is. But Bruce, who was doing these workouts and watching it on the TV about what's happening to Gotham, he finds out more of the story about the child, that there was a mercenary, that he fell in love with a woman, they had a child, and this child and woman ended up in the pit. Eventually he found out, he gets an hallucination of Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson, just comes back for a good cameo. He's like, Bruce, I'm immortal. Of course, he's just a hallucination. Telling Bruce that Bruce finds out that he is that he was the mercenary in the story. That Bane is his child. But Bruce tries to climb up to the rocks, falls, tries to do it for a second time and then falls. Then he has to work out a bit more, a couple of times. This captain, police officer, who's a captain, they try to break in, but they try to take control of the situation and go to defeat Bane, but Bane is mercenary, of course, shoot his man down and basically kill Bane. Bane just puts his leg on his throat and chokes him to death, kills him, and then hangs him, and then Bruce sees that on TV and then breaks the TV, going to whack at it. They put the fusion reactor in a truck because they're trying to blow up Gotham. But eventually, Bruce is able to get some strength back or whatever, gets out of the pit, and everybody's happy, yippee yippee, and he teleports back to Gotham City, I guess, or swims all the way back there. We don't know how he got back to Gotham City. Makes no sense. It's not a nitpick, it's a problem because he just, Selina helps this little boy. Why would he goes with Selina Kyle. It's so stupid. Why would you trust her after she betrayed you like that? She saves a boy from, these criminals. He gets in trouble for stealing an apple. They try to kill him. So then he tells her that he needs her help. She decides that she's going to help him. And again, how he got back to Gotham City, I don't know. Maybe he called Nightcrawler from the X-Men to help him teleport, or maybe he just, I don't know how he got to Gotham City. Just shows up out of nowhere. But the rich and the powerful people are dragged from their homes. All the prisoners are released. Jonathan Crane, gives, Kelly Murphy, of course, has a small cameo in here saying, exile or death. One guy who worked for Bane goes into exile, but ends up, it's this ice you gotta work on. You gotta walk on the ice, and if you fall in it, you die. You drown in the water and die. Bruce is down there for 5 months, but after getting out of the pit, goes to Lucius Fox, and Miranda. Lucius helping him to get his batsuit back. And Gordon is out of the hospital. They're trying to figure out ways to stop Bane. Eventually they get captured by Bane and his mercenaries, and Crane puts them on exile. Before anything can happen, Batman shows up. There's a flare, and Batman's like, light it up, and they light it up, and this rips off the Crow, completely rips off the Crow, starring the late Brandon Lee, which is better done, by the way. A fire of a Bastille, it's a Bastille that's fire, and, of course, Bane took around tape, Bane's like, keep Miranda, keep her, he will come for her, And he needs Lucius help to stop the bomb as well. Batman saves Sean Blake from being killed as well. Tells him that he'd get a lot of people out of the city, so Batman has to arm cops. So, Matthew Modine, who was like a sergeant, decides to quit because he's scared. He cowards out until, Gordon is able to tell him to come back in. So he goes back to fight being a cop. They have I do like the scene though where the cops and, the prisoners, the convicts are going to have a fight. And Bane and Batman meet once again, and Bane's like, you came back to die with your city! Well, Catwoman is going to leave the Batpod, so she's leaving, but Batman, when he confronts Bane, Bane's like, you came back to die with your city! And Batman's like, no, I came back to stop you. They fight again, and Batman gets his ass kicked again, gets punches, and clumsily just gets punched, until finally he gets a punch on Bane. Oh, worker detective can't figure out that his mask. You couldn't figure out that before. But punches Bane's mask, and Bane's just, Bane's trying to punch Batman. Batman's able to duck it, and he's trying to Bane punches the wall, trying to, knock Batman out. Batman punches him and gets him to this building. One of the mercenaries tries to attack Batman, knocks him out, and tells him to cover the doors, And then you get this over-the-top voice, saying to Bane, "Where's your trigger? Where's your trigger? You would never give it to an ordinary citizen. Where's your trigger, Bane? Where is your trigger? Where is your trigger?" Over-the-top silly voice, ridiculous. He was like, "Suffer," and then Batman says things like, "Then you have my permission to." I can't keep doing that voice. It's gonna hurt my throat. Batman was like, "Then you have my permission to die." He's like, "But you're not the child of Ra's al Ghul." And then Miranda, spoiler alert, she stabs Batman like a bitch, stabs him, and she basically says her name is Talia. So she's Talia al Ghul, who was Ra's al Ghul's daughter. She was the little girl in the pit that escaped. Her mother was killed. Her protector, of course, her pit bull, which again, Bane is nothing. Bane is not the main villain in this film. So it's Talia. And Talia was like, "The knife stabs through, goes through the gut." It was like, "My only father's crime was that he loved me." And she's got the trigger. And of course Bane was hurt. And she also says that Bane left Bane there because his wife died, so he just wanted to leave it be. He just exiled Bane because he didn't want to look at the monster that he feels responsible for the death of his wife. So, but Talia, after, she wanted to bring her Batman for killing Ra's and eventually brings Bane back. She orders Bane to kill him after the city blows up. But of course, Bane, ignores it, and the shotgun is going to kill Batman anyway. And boom, you blink and you miss it. I did miss this when I saw it theaters, though. I missed Bane's death and Talia's death. I just blinked and I missed it. Bane gets killed by the Bat because Catwoman saves his ass. And we gotta leave him around. Gordon is also, in the truck trying to, I guess, defuse the bomb or whatever. Gordon cuts off the ability to detonate, but they still have the bomb, and they chase Talia. Talia's man gets shot. They kill some of the cops. Batman's chasing them in the Batplane, and then I blinked and I missed it. The car wrecks, and I guess she gets jammed in there. And she's like, "My father's will be done. My father's destiny be done." Really just bad acting from her. And then Batman says that he's going to have to hook it up to the cable, hook it up to the Batplane, and drag this bomb out, the fusion bomb out of there, save Gotham City. And then, Catwoman was like, "You came back first, so do you." And then she kisses him, and honestly, this kiss is weak. It's just like a middle school kiss, because the two have no chemistry whatsoever. So, and Gordon's like, "I never cared who you was. Like, anybody could be here, even a man who put a jacket on a little boy and tell him that'd be okay after his parents were murdered." So, and then Batman takes off the commissioner and finds out that he has that memory flashback of when he put the jacket on Bruce Wayne, and he figures out that Bruce Wayne is Batman because he's like, "Bruce Wayne." Batman takes off, and you have that kind of like use where Batman begins. Batman drives away with the bomb, blows up. Hopefully, he didn't kill any dolphins, but because Batman is dead and considered a hero, Gordon, Blake, Alfred, and Lucius are at, they have a funeral for Bruce because they only knew he was Batman, and the city might not know it, but they'll know it. And I was like, "I try to protect you. I try to protect you." And of course, the estate ends up remaining to Alfred, and they give it to the orphanage kids. Build an orphanage at Wayne Manor, which I like that. Blake quits the force and goes into the Batcave, and apparently he's supposed to be Batman. No, but even before that happens, yeah. And you can also learn that Batman was not in there, so he got out of there. So, again, like I said, advertises the ending of the movie in Italy, the cafe in Italy. He looks, sees Bruce, and then Alfred just walks away, and then the ending of the movie is, of course, just with being Batman, The kid opens and now he's supposed to be Batman. No! Fuck no. His name is not Terry McGinnis. His name is not John Blake. But anyway, that's the end of The Dark Knight Rises. Or The Dark Knight Pisses. Let me give my final opinion on this movie real quick, because I'm eager to get this done. Let me just say, I hate this movie. To me, this is the worst Batman film because it's just boring. It's boring. It bored me out of my mind. It's lame. It's forgettable. Honestly, Batman and Robin is a bad movie. Yes, Batman and Robin is a bad film, but at least I can laugh at it, and it has some good moments in it that I liked. This had nothing good about it. There's nothing good in this movie. There were some things I liked, like some scenes I mentioned, like about the orphanage kids at the end, and the Batpod, Batman when he first showed up. Some scenes with the Batpod was pretty cool because I like the Batpod, but I don't like the Batplane. It looks terrible. Nolan, you did a terrible job of writing. It's just like this time, Nolan just didn't care anymore. Please, don't give us another Christopher Nolan Batman film. I don't want that. I know Christian Bale said something about it. No. And the story by David S. Goyer, I'm like, sorry, the story is lame. I don't like the fact that Batman retires. The Dark Knight Returns, the two animated movies I have that came out 2012 and 2015, Part 1 and Part 2, they had a better reason because Bruce was like 55, almost 60. He was getting up there in age, and he had a reason to retire. Batman Beyond, he was like 80, and he had a reason to retire. This, he's like 40 or something. He doesn't have a reason to retire. He don't need to be limping around, He still has the Batman voice. Again, Christian Bale did it right. He still sucks as Batman. It was just awful to see Batman get it. It just hurt seeing Batman get his ass handed to him like that. Batman being a wimp. And the fight scene between him and Bane, they suck. I've seen better movies that have action scenes, better fight scenes. Nolan, the Rocky movies, while all movies have better action scenes. The scene with Commando with Arnold and Vernon, I think Vernon something, whatever his name was, the actor. The Commando, the movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. That fight scene with the villain at the end was cool. The knife fight. I've seen better movies that have better action scenes and the hero kicking ass. Michael Caine, Gary Oldman, Lucius Fox, they're good in the first two movies, and these movies, and this one, it just seems like all three of them, in my opinion, were just here for a paycheck. They just did it for the paycheck. They didn't care. It seems like everybody's just bored in this movie. Anne Hathaway, I'm sorry, Michelle Pfeiffer's better. She's terrible. They don't even call her Catwoman. She's just Selena Kyle in a catsuit, and that's it. And the catsuit, I'm sorry, this catsuit, it looks lame in my opinion. It sucks, that stupid mask. Michelle Pfeiffer is sexier than her and a better looking woman and a way better Catwoman than she'll be. And they call her Catwoman in Batman Returns. Remember, she's like, I'm Catwoman, hear me roar. Yeah, you don't have that. Thing is, though, her Catwoman can be intimidating and can just give you that crazy look. Her saying, killing the guy was saying, by cutting his face, saying, tic-tac-toe, is more intimidating. And, because she's a cat burglar, she wants to get out of here, clean slate or whatever. You didn't need Catwoman in this movie. You didn't need Selena Kyle. Anne Hathaway, I don't like this actress. I've never cared for her. She's not attractive. She can't act. I don't know why people like her. I think she's an overrated actress. She's not attractive. She's got the big old clunky nose right there. Yeah, ugly nose right there. Not attractive to me. I'm sorry. You're not attractive. Michelle Pfeiffer's attractive. You're not. Tom Hardy, you suck as Bane. That Sean Connery voice is lame. Bane did not need to be the main villain in the movie. Bane is just, again, he's a pit bull in this movie. That's all he is. It's Talia. Talia saying that she's... No, this doesn't work. You don't do this in the third movie. The League of Shadows didn't need to be here. You didn't need the whole thing with League of Shadows. Doing this in the third movie didn't work. If you're going to add this in, you should have had Ra's al Ghul in a third movie, Christopher Nolan and David S. Goyer. But Goyer, you can't write a movie. You can't even direct a movie. Look at Blade Trinity. You can't direct any movie. Man of Steel, I'll admit, you did a different thing with the Superman, and I like Man of Steel for what it is. It is not completely Superman, but it's a different Superman, and I like it for what it is, and I do enjoy that movie. That movie's a lot better, you know. But this is iteration for these movies, and film saying, you know, maybe Dark City, no, being realism, and Gotham City. I forgot to mention in my Dark Knight review, but Gotham City, I hate the way Gotham City looks. It's downtown Chicago. Gotham City is a character of its own. It needs to be fantasy. It's escapism. Movies are art, yes, but they're also about escapism and fantasy. That's what movies are, fantasy, escapism. You know, the cinematography is nice, the editing, the fight scenes suck. I'm sorry. The Rocky movies, watch Rocky movies, they have better fight scenes. You know, there are movies that have better fight scenes than this, you know. The music score behind Zimmer, I still don't care about. I think it's an overrated score. It's just too loud and annoying. It just never really clicked with me. And the film is just boring. It feels like a 3-hour movie that's way too long. The Batman didn't feel that long. The Batman had a good story and was actually a good detective story. And Robert Pattinson was actually a good Batman, a better Batman. You know, and still, Michael Keaton was dark and mysterious, and Val Kilmer was too. So George Clooney and Christian Bale, I don't like them. George Clooney is decent, but they're both weak Batman, especially Bale, you know, who, you know, the voice doesn't help either. The voice is just, it makes Batman look like a joke. You know, college humor, people make fun of it, so knowing all you did was turn Batman into a moron who has to get his ass saved a lot and gets his ass kicked all the time. So overall, I hate The Dark Knight Rises. Yes, I will say right now, this to me is the worst Batman film I've been. This is an epic rant because I hate this movie. Gosh, it's just boring. It's a film I never want to watch again. I'm never going to watch this movie. I rather just watch Batman and Robin. If I ever do watch these movies again, I'm not going to keep these movies anymore. I might just... Batman against Dark Knight, if they come on TV, I'll watch them, but that's about it. Dark Knight, I only watch it for Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger, it's so sad that he passed away. I wish he could have been in this movie. It would have been a lot... It wouldn't have made it better, but at least he would have made it watchable. And he's still... Heath Ledger. He's still the best villain of this whole franchise. Also going Scarecrow. Now, Liam Neeson, you know, cinematography, they are good actors and they do their job, but they're underused. Two-Face is underused. Bane and Catwoman, they suck in this movie. So did Talia. Talia just kind of came out of the blue. But honestly, the story to me is not interesting. The story is lame. And the film is boring and unforgettable. There's some nice shots in that sense. Cinematography, some stuff that makes me laugh, some moments that are entertaining and that I like. But other than that, still a boring movie that just, you know, thank God we got the Batman this year. We got a better Batman film than these movies that should take inspiration from these movies to actually have the guy in a suit and a good story, you know. And, you know, take inspiration from the Batman, not these movies. Yeah, the Batman is dark, but you don't have to be dark. You know, you don't have to make the character so dark. You know, not every freaking superhero movie has to be like these films, and every superhero is not like Batman. Every superhero is different. But anyway, guys, The Dark Knight Rises. I'm going to give this film 1 out of 5 stars and a thumbs down. Hate Dark Knight Rises. Hate that movie. I want to just smash it, but I don't want to do that. So anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed my review of the live-action Batman films. All 3 of them, all of them to Batman the movie, to The Dark Knight Rises, The Dark Knight Pisses. So hope y'all enjoyed that. And I'm sorry for this. Yeah, this is an epic rant because I hate this movie. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned because now we are getting into phase 2 of the Batman Marathon, and that will be talking about the Batman TV shows. It'll be God's favorite episodes like I did with Superman, and then we'll get into phase 3, which is animated, but phase 2 first, and that is a TV show starting with TV show that came out, a little cartoon that came out in the 1970s or 1977, returning Adam West and Burt Ward to the voices of Batman and Robin, and that is The New Adventures of Batman. So, a TV show version video is going to be here today. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and let me know what you think of The Dark Knight Rises. If you disagree with me, that's fine. If you love this movie, if you love this trilogy, that's fine. We agree to disagree, but to me, these films are just not Batman. Batman is not meant to be realistic to me, in my opinion. But if you love these movies, to each his own, you know. But I don't. Batman Begins, Dark Knight, okay. Dark Knight Rises sucks, but overall, just an overrated, boring trilogy, in my opinion, that just wasn't needed, you know. You could have done better, no one, but anyway. But I do love Inception, and I like Insomnia, so I'm not saying no one's a terrible director. I like those movies. But anyway, guys, 1 out of 5 stars and thumbs down for Dark Knight Rises. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. And thanks for watching. Bye-bye. Stay tuned for the next video. TV show Evolution Part 24, The New Adventures of Batman. So stay tuned. Bye-bye.